Yeah, so I think we are a creature of our environment, and setting up your environment for success is actually critically important. Barack Obama only have two color shirt. Similarly, like Mark Zuckerberg also only have one color shirt actually for his everyday use. Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Nico Chandita. Welcome to World Mobile Productivity Solution. This week I'm going to talk about part 3 of the weekly planning process. In case if you actually haven't seen my 2 other previous video, I highly encourage you to actually watch it over here. For today, I'm going to talk about a couple of things. First one is about the weekly time planning. Weekly time planning is actually a very essential part of the weekly planning. There are a couple of things as part of this process. The first checklist that I have is to realign to the 10-year planning. It's actually really good to revisit in terms of your 10 years goal. Sometimes we only plan in terms of what is actually happening in the next 1 month or the next quarter, but we forgot in terms of our long-term goals. And these long-term goals includes things that we plan in the next decade. There was a saying by a very famous entrepreneur, I think it was Peter Thiel, who says that people actually underestimated the power of looking in a decade ahead. So I think it's really important to actually realign yourself in what are your goals, what do you want to achieve in 10 years time. So I usually revisit in terms of a document that I've created of what I would like to become in the next 10 years. And this document actually consists of several parts in terms of the life that I want to be living, in terms of where am I at in terms of my relationship, where am I at in terms of the place that I'm living, and so on and so on. So with this in mind, this is like a compass, right? So ideally, the day-to-day things that you are actually doing is actually aligned with the 10 years goal that you're actually planning with. The next thing that I do as part of the weekly planning is actually to see in terms of what are my projects that I want to do in the upcoming week. And then that's when I can actually allocate the timing. I call this like a time box exercise, meaning that for each of the important projects that I want actually to do, I will actually allocate it to like specific on the most important tasks early in the morning for a chunk of time, so that I can actually get this thing done. So yeah, so it's more like a time budgeting. As you know, there is only 24 hours in a day, so there's only a limited amount of time that can be allocated, and this is like a budgeting method to ensure that the most important things are actually blocked for the important activities. The next thing that I would do is that I would actually allocate in terms of the important meetings that I want to actually have for the upcoming week. So this could be any meetings with potential clients, potential customers, or even like meetings with your spouse, or even with your friends and family members. So I think it's really crucial to maintain all the relationships. And I think the weekly planning is actually a good way to make appointment with them and allocate the activities that you want to do together during this time. All right, so we've gone through in terms of the weekly time planning section. What I would do next is in terms of updating some of my important projects. So I will go through each of my project lists, and I would actually update them as part of this process. So I have a number of different running projects. So this could be projects from home renovation, or even like maintaining relationship project. So I would actually go to each of those lists and then update them accordingly in terms of the latest progress. The next checklist that I have as part of the weekly planning is called decision architecture. So what does this mean? I would actually ask myself a question in terms of what are some of the mundane decisions that can actually be automated. There is this principle where the more decisions that you take on like a given day, the more that it consumes in terms of your energy repository. So ideally, you make as little decision as possible. We've seen this on terms of this technique actually applied to some of the famous people. For example, Barack Obama only have 2 color shirt. Similarly, like Mark Zuckerberg also only have 1 color shirt actually for his everyday use. I would actually assess in terms of what are the mundane decisions that it's not critically important that could be automated. And there's some of these things that I have previously automated includes things such as buying groceries, for example. So I've already automated in terms of the purchase of groceries using like e-commerce feature, and now I don't have to make any more decisions, buying toilet paper or buying soaps and stuff like that. I've also automated in terms of turning on and turning off of the air conditioning as well, and turning on in terms of my robot vacuum as well. So I think those are some of the mundane decisions that can potentially be automated. The next thing that I would ask myself is that what are the environmental decisions that can actually be set up. So this is actually like an interesting concept that I actually learned. We are actually like a creature of the environment that actually we live in. So if you actually have like a goal, right? You actually need to think in terms of what are the environments that you set up for you to actually follow through in terms of the habits for a chunk of time, so that I can actually get this thing done. So so it's more like a time budgeting. As you know, there is only 24 hours in a day, so there's only a limited amount of unhealthy food and unhealthy snacks. Then you will be automatically be eating unhealthy food and unhealthy snacks. It's really important that you would stock up your fridge and your kitchen with healthy foods, because we actually automatically will eat the healthy food and the healthy snack. Similarly, another example is that if one of your goals, for example, is to actually you want to work harder, for example. Basically, if your environment for you to actually work is not supportive of that, let me give you an example. If you have like a very small screen laptop with very low specification, what you will do is that you would actually hate that kind of experience, doing a lot of alt tabbing and then having the experience in terms of working in a moment where your computer is like crashing all the time. You won't be accustomed in terms of working hard. On the flip side, if let's say that you set up an environment where you have a very big desk, very large 40-inch screen, very fast computer with 64GB of RAM and the latest Intel processor, and very huge hard disk drive, very stable in terms of system and software that actually accompany your work, then you'll be more motivated to actually work harder, because you are actually not experiencing all of this kind of friction that you're actually facing. Friction such as having a computer crash or doing like a lot of alt tabbing when opening up 10 different windows. So so I think we are a creature of our environment, and setting up your environment for success is actually critically important, and you should always reassess in terms of on a weekly basis in terms of what is the environment that is actually supportive in terms of the goals that you actually want to achieve. In my case, I actually aspire to be a person who actually work really hard and always be healthy and always maintaining good friendship, and also have good relationship with spouse. And so I think and therefore some of the environments that I actually designed is actually purposely built to achieve those goals and objectives by assessing that kind of environmental decision on a weekly basis that you'll be able to actually improve upon in the future. All right, the next bucket of checklist that I have is actually to arrange for fun times. So basically, I'm not always about work. I believe that play and having fun is actually like a crucial aspect of productivity. Sometimes is that just by allocating a set of time that you'll be doing something fun, like for example, going to like a nice restaurant or going to the beach, even if it's like 1 week or maybe 2 weeks away, that triggers your mind in terms of that you'll be feeling like happy because you're looking forward for the next event. So I always allocate 1 or 2 events every weekend, or which are actually having fun. So in most cases, it's like in terms of having what is having fun for me would be things such as going to the movies or trying out new restaurants, visiting like a new mall. So I always allocate those time every week, at least once or twice, so that I am looking forward to the event and I'm not actually feeling burnt out. Yeah, I think those are some of the items that I have for this video. So if you would like to hear more productivity tips from me, and you actually get value from this video, please consider to subscribe to this video at the button below. Until then, I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.